critical issue. You've been watching GoalDiggers, and in the studio today we've had Elvina Quaison, who is the founder of SESA and also the business club manager for Afford UK. And we've been talking about so many things before we got rudely cut off, interrupted. And we were talking about your journey of how you got to where you are now. And we were talking about your personal development organisation, SESA, your job role at Afford, and also we went into your views on the year of the return. So let's do a quick recap. If you could just like summarise, you know, where we got cut off, and then we can go back into the year of the return and your personal views on that economy and tourism in Ghana.
Okay, ask me a question and then I'll answer that.
Okay, so you've had 18 years experience in helping people from the diaspora relocate back to Ghana.
So in essence, I think my key message from that part is if you want to effectively move to another country, and in this case Ghana, then just be prepared to invest in that move. Find people who have information and knowledge that would be of best use to you. I obviously would put myself forward in that position because I have helped other people do that, and I do that assistance through the workshops, Making the Move Ghana, and also through one-to-one sessions with people, being able to advise them on what they want to do and helping to connect them to people in Ghana that would be useful, both before you go and when you're on the ground. And so that would be the key message for people who want to move. And we do cover everything from the personal relationships, family structure, to career versus entrepreneurship, to your mindset and being in the right frame of mind, having the right attitude to make the move as effective as possible, and also safeguarding you for all the emotional and physical, practical things that a move is going to involve. So.
Okay, so we were talking about the year of the return. And we were, you know, I asked you about your personal views on the whole thing. So let's quickly
go back there. I would say it's a very worthwhile endeavour that the government has taken up, both in terms of connecting Ghana with its diaspora and its diaspora back to Ghana. I hope that more people in Ghana will look beyond just the marketing thing and really try and understand the feelings of some of the diaspora, particularly from the Americas and the Caribbean, who have this emotional draw and connection, and actually really trying to understand where that comes from. And then also looking at the bigger picture of how having, I don't even know how many, I think I saw an interview where one of the diaspora, he's actually Nigerian, American diaspora, Jadena, was saying that I think they brought 10,000 people to Ghana over the period from the first Full Circle Festival. And that isn't just including all the people who've set up travel groups, and now you have the founder of Essence, who's a Liberian diaspora, who's coming to have the first Black Global Investment Summit in Ghana. I mean, these things all elevate, and as much as I was saying earlier, you may not see the money straight into your hand from person to you, it will get to different areas and you will feel the benefit, because as they say, when there's more money in the system, everybody gets paid. And so all these people are bringing much more money into the system, and more than that, they're bringing energy,
but do you think
vibrancy.
That's true, that when the money comes into the system, everyone...
I mean, there's obviously going to be concentration. So the first people, if we look at the hotels, let's take a hotel, that would be really right. So take your hotel, Kempinski, Movenpick. That's sold out now for the holidays. So what that means is Kempinski and Movenpick need to take on more staff. So that means more jobs for students, people are out of school, young people looking for work, what have you. So there's more jobs there, which means that's more income for those people that's going to go home and then filter in the household. So that's one space. Another space is you're going to have, of the same people who've come in that group, they're going to need transport. So that's going to be coaches, buses, taxis, which means more people. Uber's going to be crazy, as is, I think, Bolt. And then there's another one. there's another one, is it Captain in Ghana? And then the regular taxis, because sometimes some of these other systems don't really work, and then you have to just go straight back to the usual taxis. So everybody's going to be busy. They're all going to have much more income. Some of the taxis with their creative calling of fees are going to be able to have a nice
look at you.
Christmas 5 city, 50 city, you know, it varies depending. So you'll start to see it coming down that way. Restaurants, the producers and the suppliers for the restaurants, the hotels are going to need more ingredients, more vegetables, more towels, more whatever it is that they function. They're going to be at capacity for over 2 weeks, which means all the people who help to provide them services.
I mean, even the people that sell on the streets, I mean...
That's it. And they're all part of the experience, right? So you go to a country, you want to try, because it's very popular to try the street food. So everybody from the wache seller who's got the food in a leaf to the, plantain sellers, with the peanuts to the orange and the mangoes, because all the fruit looks so good, looks so rich and vibrant. They're going to want to stop, and coconut water. Everybody wants to try everything, and humans, they just love to eat. They just want to taste, touch and feel. So if you do anything in the entertainment, hospitality, food, you are going to get hit in some way. If you do clothing, especially African themed clothing.
I mean, fashion has grown so much.
So much. And you are going to be inundated. All the people in the arts and crafts centres, from Osu to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial around that side. And yeah, everybody's going to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial. So if you're around there, you're definitely going to get business. Water sellers. It hits you in so many different ways that I can't even put them all into words. So it's looking at it in the bigger picture, and it doesn't mean, and we were saying that you hike up your prices.
Yes, I was going to say that, because in the previous video we were talking about the inflation. Which is
the inflation that we're seeing. It shows your short-term thinking. It shows that you have. We talked a bit about mindset. It means you have a scarcity mindset, because you're thinking, if I don't make all my money right now in this 2-week period, that's it, done. And it's not true. This is the third time groups are coming over, and it can keep going because people are loving it. But if you keep making it economically unattractive, then I'm going to stop going to you, and I will go to Kenya or Gambia or wherever else where I can have my African experience at a more reasonable cost, where my pound, dollar, euro will go further. Rather, let me keep coming back. Let's build a relationship. Let me have my favorite hotel that I can keep coming back to, and it's not going to be $200 this year and then $500 the next, which makes me think I'm not.
Because to rent apartments in Ghana right now is crazy.
Yeah, and it's like, I get it. It's been a bit slow. It's picking up, and you're trying to recoup, but don't try and recoup everything at once, because all that means is you're going to burn that bridge, and then you'll be back in the same situation again. And that's for all sectors. There is no sector exempt. Everybody is part, from the person who sells the beats to the person who's hiring the cars. Everybody gets involved. Like, obviously, every puts a little increase wherever you are in the world when it's a busy period, but let it be a reasonable increase. Let's not get crazy, and make it so that Ghana can become a real attractive tourism hub that keeps people wanting to come back.
So you've heard it from the diaspora queen herself. She's given us her opinion on the year of the return.
Yes, but I definitely think it's, and I even forgot, it's recognised so much across the continent that Ghana was awarded a award while we were in Senegal at this African Union event for the work that they were doing, recognising the people of African descent and the work that they're doing in this whole year of return. So it's not just Ghana and Ghanaians that are impacted. You're actually impacting on the continent and the world, really, because you've got people from everywhere wanting to come in or looking at what's happening. On my last trip, there was a Malian lady from Germany and a Senegalese lady from Paris. They were friends, and they'd come to Ghana because they'd been seeing everything that was happening, and they wanted to come and see for themselves. And we stayed at the Best Western Accra Hotel. Esther, I've just given you a shout out. Best Western Accra Plus. And that was reasonably priced, and it's not too far from the centre. And that's what we want more of. So I hope they don't now hike up their prices, because that is affordable. It's between $80 to about $120 a night. And if you're coming from abroad, you will stay there. There was somebody who'd been there like a month. So, you know, rather than have me come for 2 nights and then leave, I could come for weeks and be eating your food, lunch, dinner, breakfast, snacks. Think bigger. Don't be like scrabbling for everything in the 1 minute. Think about the relationship that could grow there.
So back to SESA.
And that's actually where I'm going to be holding my retreat as well, because it was
really?
It was a perfect hotel. Really, really good.
Okay, so back to SESA and your retreat, which you're holding in March
yes.
2020. And as I said before, retreats are all about well-being. So what can we expect?
So this retreat is going to focus on transition, because
transition in
yes, so
personally and in. If you want to relocate to Ghana?
It goes beyond that, actually.
Okay.
So it can be a transition from moving from being an employee to becoming an entrepreneur, from being a stay-at-home mother who's now going back to work, from moving from one relationship status to another relationship status.
So the theme is transition?
The theme is transition, because the core of what we go through in that transition period, and we do look at some of this in the workshop because it's the same thing, it's this period of instability, insecurity, fear, and confusion, because you're going into another state, another position that you're unfamiliar with. You've not got the tools, you haven't got the awareness, you haven't got that back knowledge that will help you to navigate through this. So the retreat is going to be a space to assist people, particularly women, to reflect on what's gone before, think about where they'd like to go, and then we plot out how to get there and provide you with the tools, resources and support to make sure that that can happen.
So why do you think your services are important to people?
I think they're important to people because we often just go, we often just do. We don't stop and reflect and think about what we're doing, the impact it's having on ourselves, others, the world as a whole, and so on. And when you do that, it becomes more and more difficult for you to celebrate the good things that you do and see the worth in what you're doing, and also reflect on the things that haven't gone as well, so that you don't repeat those mistakes. Because when you keep on repeating those mistakes, you can become quite bitter. And it was something I was reflecting on over the weekend. And when you become bitter, you have an element of blame about the environment, about other people, about why didn't this work for me? Why is it working for them? They've only got it because they're corrupt. They've only got it because they're doing certain things with certain people that I would never do. And that's how they got what they got. And then you're not looking at some of the other things that could actually help you to improve your situation. So after be bitter, be blame, then you have to move to looking at, okay, what is your intention for your life? What is your intention for what you would like your next steps to be? And at that point, you can then move to recognizing the transformation that needs to take place. And once you've got to that part, you're going to have to go through a transition. And this is the bit where SESA lives, between the transformation and transition. We're right there to support you to get the correct energy. You need the right attitude, the right mindset, the right thought process.
I feel like I'm in one of your
sessions right now. And then finally, it's to really get people to take the most, in some ways, the key thing, responsibility. And that's one thing, it doesn't matter which country you're in, who you are, people run from taking responsibility for themselves, for the decisions, for where their life is. People will have an impact, but how you respond to it and your approach is the key thing. So responsibility is a key part. That's my little anagram of bitter, and how to move from being bitter to having the life you want.
Okay, so where can people find, we've got to round this up quickly. So where can, there's so much things I wanted to ask you, but anyway, where can people find you on social media? Because it's so important. Okay, so... and guys, please try and watch the first half of this conversation, because Elvina touched on some really important things, and if you don't understand this part, you need to catch up on the first half.
So you can find me on SESA for Life, SESA for Life, and that's on Instagram and on Facebook, or Elvina Quaison, equally on Instagram and Facebook. And then the website is www.sesaforlife.wordpress.com. And then you'll find information about the workshop. The retreat information is soon to come. And you'll also be able to find me on the 7th of November at an event looking at setting up a business in Ghana, being done by Ghanaian Londoners, Adjoa Ajamang.
Yes.
Hi
Adjoa.
Hi Adjoa. And myself and I think 7 others who have gone through the journey will be sharing our experiences. And that is on the 7th next week. So check out Adjoa Ajamang's page, Ghanaian Londoners, Women in Enterprise. One of those should get you to the information for that event.
And also quickly, 3 tips that you would give to anyone who's thinking of relocating back to Ghana, just randomly, like 3
random tips. Okay. 1, come to my workshop so I can help you. 2, or one-to-one session. 2, really think about what you want your life in Ghana to look like, so you know exactly what you need to do now to start planning towards that. And 3, invest in yourself and your move. Invest means time, and it definitely means money. Not just saying it because there is a cost to my workshop, but you really need to take yourself seriously and pay for serious, on-point information. Those are my 3 tips.
Wow, it's been amazing having you on the show.
Yes, it's been great.
With all your knowledge, 18 years of experience of helping people from the diaspora move back to Ghana and other African countries.
Yeah.
So as she said, check her out. She's given you all her social media contacts. You've been watching GoalDiggers. And once again, a big thank you to everybody that voted for Omega Live TV for Best Media House at for the Ghana Union Community Awards, which took place on Saturday, and we won. So we are now an award-winning online TV station. Respect. My name is Eva Newlove, Miss Newlove, and you've been watching GoalDiggers. Until next week, goodbye.
Cool.